have a look. I want to proceed to the valuation part. So I talk to you about the cap table and also implications of fundraising. So let's get back to the idea first. If you're going to invest in this company, would it qualify as a good investment opportunity from the perspective of the fund you're working with? It takes application of the fund you're working with, and so on. Typically, you want to be investing in something not just as a financial investor. You also take an active role in management of the company too. So, is it a good investment fit for your fund? This one. Does it actually qualify into what we understand what venture capital should look like? Yes, no, maybe. What reasons? What could be your evaluation of this investment opportunity?
It's qualified. I think it's qualified because it's a product that's already selling and it's about to go and be more scalable. So that's why it's required venture capital growth.
Okay. Some track record, right? And also potential to scale. Suppose you put the hats of the owners on, Maxwell and so on. Would you want to take VC funding? Why would VC funding be appropriate for you? What else would you have done rather than seeking VC funding? We talked last week about potential source of fund, who you can raise money from, and also how you can raise funding. Typically, you raise funding from VCs, they like equity. Because if you don't invest as equity investor, there's no upside. The game of VC is to really hit a home run, so that your investment can maybe grow 10 times, say, of your original investment amount. Get a loan, okay. Suppose you want to get a loan from a bank. If you're a banker, would you want to lend money to this company? Okay, so in the SME, this is probably on the very left end of the S, right? If you look at the company's annual sales and so on, this is a very small business. So banks like lending, but banks don't really like small businesses. Because to understand small businesses, take the same time as understanding medium and large businesses, in essence, really. If you're going to lend just this amount, they ask for $2.5 billion. That's actually not a lot of money from a bank perspective. And you might not want to do so. Does the company have a lot of collateral? And what kind of asset does the company have? Is it even producing all this stuff? If you want to classify the market, what kind of company is it really? Is it would you call this a beverage company? What's their actual business model?
Healthy lifestyle for convenience.
Okay, so they sell healthy lifestyle and convenience, right? But how are they actually making money? I mean, that's a nice marketing statement, but by selling what? What are they actually selling? They're selling drinks, okay? How are they getting drinks to sell?
From organic ingredients.
Okay, so those are the ingredients, those are recipe. So let me ask a little bit more specific. I have the ingredients, I have recipe. How do I get those drinks to sell? Who makes the drinks for me? I'm outsourcing. So if you're outsourcing, are you actually a drink company? So what are you doing then? You're actually a trading/marketing company. If you are a bank, would you like to lend to trading/marketing company? You don't have a lot of collateral. Right? What are collateral? Receivables, great. Inventory, great. I'd rather have something that has real money. Right? If it had a factory, it might be a different issue. It could be a small business, but this business really has not a lot of collateral. So you go to the bank says, yeah, well, but you don't have a lot. I'm willing to give you some. The case says the bank willing to give you some. 80% receivables, 50% inventory, very important on this story. But that's actually very generous. Right? You go to banks, if you go to Thai banks, they might not even be willing to talk to you at all. If it's a trading company. And especially if your inventory is full. Right? If your inventory is something durable, like electronics and so on, okay, that might be a little more acceptable from bank's perspective. But everything that this company has is very asset light in a sense. So these guys have difficulty in raising funding. In the case that should we take venture capital or should we go and borrow money? The case price as if you can go and borrow money, but in reality, if you try to borrow, you might not get a very good term. If you do, your interest rate might be quite high. Okay. So, let's just go to the venture capital perspective then. Now, your venture capital firm, the firm has a potential to scale. So, if you are investing in a bottling facility versus investing in a marketing/branding company as a venture capital firm, which would you prefer? I guess you already answered this. Right? The reason why this business is scalable is mainly because of its operating model. Right? If the company has its own factory, then factories are very scalable. If this company is really just selling drinks as a manufacturer of drinks, then maybe if you are a venture capital firm, you might not like that at all. Because what's your potential business model from just being a bottler versus if you're selling here, healthy lifestyle and so on, then perhaps you're not just selling drinks. You might have a lot more to offer in the future. Right. The question is, how do we evaluate the investment opportunity? Okay, so has anyone tried to think about at least, you don't have to put numbers on it yet, but what approaches can be made to value this company based on the information given in the case? Okay, so what information in the case is useful? This one. Okay. Exhibit 2A. Okay, so retail sale CAGR of 0.7%. What does that tell us about this business? I'm assuming you point out this number, right? This table here. If we classify ourselves as a drink company, how do we interpret this information? Is this a good business to be in? The market is not expanding, right? So why are we investing in this?
and then the steel substrate components.
Okay, great, thank you. The big market might not be expanding very much. If you think about this as the total spending, okay, total spending that consumers spend on this type of product, we might not be here to expand the market. We might be here to steal the market. If you think people are just, this is how much money people have anyway. The total money doesn't change, but what people spend money on may change. Perhaps this may not be our true market. And you may have heard of the concept total addressable market. And people like to throw many numbers at you. Here's the market. Uber uses the total transportation spending as a market. WeWork uses all office rental as total addressable market. But it's very big. We could throw this number up and say, you know what, our sales is only about 1 million per year. But here the market is 124 billion per year. So there's a lot for us to grow into that market. Okay. But you can think about it that. But a more useful way to look at that, like, go a little deeper into this and then, segment into the smaller market. What market are we really competing in? And so on and so on. The case kind of says that the market doesn't really change. The market doesn't change, but what people spend money on changes. One moment is coconut water, and now people are drinking healthy stuff. The total amount doesn't change, or what they spend on change. So you could actually bet on that. Okay? And you might be a new company to replace that trend. So I guess what I wanted to say was that the case gives you a lot of information, but the question is, are they that useful for you, okay, in assessing this business? I can talk all day about what the US soft drinks market is, but is that the right way to evaluate the potential of business? That's also questionable, right? If we subset it to, suppose we don't have this information, but we had information on particular brands and so on, and how they evolve over time, how they start from something non-existent to something that's mainstream. If we think we are like one of them, then we can use that trajectory, okay, to look at our future prospects, rather than look at the big picture, which actually contains many, many small moving parts that might not be representative of our expected future growth. Okay, great. So, what else might you want to use to try to value the company? If this were a normal valuation class, security analysis or equity analysis, what might you be tempted to do in this case? We have projections. Okay. Let me ask you this, number one, okay, are the projections here informative? Can we believe the numbers? At least it had a past. So, not all of this is made up. We have the future about what's going to happen. And if that future is made up of something that we're pretty confident about, so in this case we have 3 customers lined up in the future, we might be confident enough in these numbers. So we could be tempted to use this number, okay, and do a DCF calculation. But the next question is, once we have this DCF number projected out into the future, how do we value them? What discount rate? Right? We don't have a lot of information to work with in this case, okay, but we'll see how our discussion goes. But suppose we wanted to incorporate this DCF into a valuation model. How should we think about valuing these companies versus companies that we are more familiar with, like established stock market and so on? Okay, so let me note down. We have the financial projection. So in essence, we could do a DCF valuation. want this company. Okay, so I'm going to leave that aside and then try to ask you about other alternatives. If we don't do DCF valuation, what else could we do given the information that the case is provided to us? Let me give you a hint. You already told me what to do before break. We had a list of what we could do potentially. 10 years old. So we could use PS, okay, PS multiples, Q. Okay, so if we use PS, how could we use the PS? Let me bring up information for you. Here are PS. So, based on this table, what can we do? How can we use this table from our perspective? What about your company? What's right?
Look at the size of the cells.
Okay, look at the size of the sales.
See whether among these companies, whether which of them are really comparable.
Okay, so we could screen based on size. So why would we want to screen based on size? What would be the motivation? Why can't we just take all of them? We can normalize it anyway, right? Value divided by something. So what would be the reason for scaling by the size of this business?
Because the size would indicate the potential state of their business, whether they're already expanded or
Okay.
whether they are already have the same model.
So let me try to elaborate, okay, what you did, what you said by just drawing this graph. So I guess you're saying that if you're at this point versus at this point, you have quite different sales. So what's the issue with having different sales at different points?
You are either because you are not yet being in the market, you buy it or you cover all of the demands.
Okay. If we're at this point, okay, remember when we do valuation, we value all future potential. So suppose you pay X for business. You can break down what you paid for. Okay? You could pay for the company's existing business. And you can also pay for the company's growth potential. So in essence, you could be looking at companies that have very similar value. But if you look at a company with similar value to one company at an earlier stage, when you compare its value to what it is right now, you can be looking at a company that when you buy the company, you're not buying for the company's existing business, you're paying for the growth potential. In other words, companies that have different growth opportunities. When you compare the company's future potential to its existing capability, the ratios may be quite different. So it's quite important, okay, when you look at multiples, even though we're normalizing by some metric, when we do valuation, we want to think about all future benefits. And if the present isn't reflective of its own future potential, then by normalizing with the present, you may get a different multiple. And you can do a mathematical proof of this. When you're doing this, you're looking at when you do valuation compared on today's price, one of the key inputs is what are the embedded future growth and so on. So by choosing companies that have similar sales, we're assuming that they're at similar stages. So the multiples will be more informative in this case. Right? Thank you very much. Okay, so let me note that multiples should be based on companies that are similar. Well, what's similar? Okay, so we could talk about similarity in terms of position on the S-curve. What are the dimensions might be concerned about other than position on the S-curve? If you look closely at the companies on the list, would you say they're all good peers? Canadian producer and wholesaler gluten-free snack products, Korean canned beverage producer, like a British company producing and wholesaling soft drinks, specializing in exotic tropical drinks, coffee producer and retailer, and so on and so on. So all these companies, would you say they're all good comparisons to what our company is like? If no, then why? They're selling food.
Some of them are really in a different focus.
Selling different, they're all selling food, but different kinds of food, different focus. Some of them seem to be wholesalers. Some of them seem to be not marketers, producers. Okay, so these are small considerations you may wonder, and then you may have, and then it as someone analyzing the situation, it's up to you to pick who are the peers. Okay, there's no right or wrong, but there's only ones that are easy to defend and ones that are more difficult to defend. So you may want to screen not just based on size, based on business model. The other dimension I want to point out that's not that obvious is these comps, they're not based on market prices. Because most of these companies aren't traded in the stock market. Okay? We have many cases where companies go out and buy smaller private companies as part of acquisition. And they may report some information about, okay, I paid X for this company. And at that point of time, I paid 31 million for that company, and then at that time the company had sales of about 26.4 billion. In other words, these are comparables based on most recent transactions. And when we say most recent, we have numbers ranging from 2004, 2001, 2011. So acquisitions made today versus 10 years ago may be different in different macroeconomic environment. At that point in time, your willingness to pay may be based on the mood, sentiment, or even just current financial market conditions. So the other that you might have to think about is, are these recent enough comps? Okay, you might be tempted to just use the 1.4 median, but that's saying that all of these are as good as one another. Okay, so I think these are more like conceptual issues. I don't really have a guideline as to this is the right thing to do, this is the wrong thing to do. But I can only say that if you do this, like if you include all these numbers, it may raise the question of one, how come you including transactions from 10 years ago? You think numbers from 10 years ago are still good today. Number two, I have a lot of companies that are in various businesses. Are they really good competitors? And number three, we have large companies versus small companies. Are they good enough for one comparison? Again, I don't know. Suppose we had a multiple. Where would we apply a multiple?